Welcome back to the Action Rabbit introductory screencast series. And in this particular screencast, we are going to be going over adding shortcodes in the Action Rabbit Jackrabbit class WordPress plugin. So here we are on the main Action Rabbit dashboard. We can see that that menu item is selected in the left-hand WordPress left-hand vertical navigation, and then most of the way down, most of the bottom, there is a menu option called shortcodes. So we're going to click shortcodes, and we are brought to our shortcodes page. Shortcodes page has a variety of tabs that correlate with some of the core Action Rabbit shortcodes that you are able to put in place wherever you like on your various WordPress websites. The first shortcode that we're going to go over is the class filter. Now, one of the interesting things and very useful things about Action Rabbit is it's going to show you exactly what the shortcode will render in real time and allow you to configure it so that you can simply just copy and paste your shortcode after configuring it in the Jackrabbit class shortcode area. So we have a list of what our core Action Rabbit shortcode is, and then we can configure it down here with a variety of different, these are called attributes, where it says a certain thing equals, and then quote unquote something inside. So we don't really need to get into too much about what shortcodes are. Just know that all, as a web administrator, you will need to do is copy and paste, and you would click this copy button here, and then you would be given the shortcode that you would then copy and paste wherever you'd like to paste it. But what we are going to do is show you the functionality and how to configure shortcodes so that they look and feel the way that you want them to feel on your individual Jackrabbit, or excuse me, on your individual WordPress websites. So what we are doing is we are going to be kind of branding this. This is our class filter. So in configuring the way that it works. So we have a couple options up here for our class filter. So this particular example organization that we plugged in at the beginning of our screencast, introductory screencast series, has two locations. We don't have to have two locations in our class filter. Let's say you had specific pages on your website that pertain to each location, and you'd like to offer a filter for each of those locations. It's totally fine. What we are going to do here is if we want to remove a location, let's say you had 5, 6, 7 locations and you wanted to just include one location, you would select which locations you want to exclude. Let's say we just want to have our class filter kind of filter people through our Aliso Viejo Aquatic Center location. We would exclude Marbella here. So let's click Marbella. We can see that this updated in real time, and it got rid of that initial first step here that was selecting a location. So let's go back in here and just take that off, and now we have both locations again. We just wanted to be Marbella. We could remove Aliso Viejo Aquatic Center, and we can see that our class filter shortcode updated to say exclude Aliso, which happens to be the Jackrabbit class shortcode, or excuse me, location code for that particular location. And if we liked what we saw right here and wanted to click copy, you can just copy that. You see that it has exclude location here. But let's say let's exclude Marbella. Let's say we just wanted to show, we didn't want to show our LTS Fast Track, and we didn't want to show our swim team. We would go to exclude a category. We can see LTS Fast Track is here, and that's been removed from our class filter. And let's say we didn't want to include swim team for some reason. we would find swim team here, and we would exclude that as well. Now, please do note that these are multi-selects in order to select multiple locations. I don't know if you're on a Mac or PC, but on a Mac you hold down Command for each one you want to remove. So let's say I removed these two, I would hit Command to select both of these simultaneously. And we can see that here we're excluding these categories, LTS Fast Track and Swim Team, and now we just have these three options here. We also don't need to use these image boxes if we didn't want to use an image box. It's totally fine. There's another format. We can opt for buttons. So here we have buttons of the particular locations, and if we have extra information pertaining to our class, we will have this little question mark icon here that when clicked shows our modal or whatever we've set this up to be over in our display preferences, either a drawer or a modal, with more information about that particular class. Okay, so if we wanted to switch this back to images, this would appear as more info. And there we have the exact same thing. Okay. When we opt to use buttons, we get rid of our excerpt, which is completely your decision. But here we've opted to put in ages 6 through 10. When we use buttons, the excerpt goes away. This just becomes pretty straightforward, just buttons. We haven't put any extra information associated with LTS Perpetual or Parent and Me, so there's no little checkbox next to it as well. But this would allow us to go through the same process as well. So if we happen to select Parent and Me, we would still start filtering down through our categories. This is basically category 1, category 2, and then you would click this, let's say, and then we would be brought to our class calendar here. Okay? So image boxes will persist throughout the whole experience. So if you happen to select Parent and Me here, we would still get our image boxes. So you can have images that pertain to each level. It depends how in-depth you'd like to be. Now, you don't have to have this level or class filter step tracker. You can remove this if you want. Show this, the filter steps. We'll say no. And then that goes away. And we're just left with our step title, which happens to be select class level on this one. Select class type, level, select time. It's all the same steps. It's just we remove that, the little step tracker there. Okay. Now, when we found something that we liked, we would click copy, and there's our shortcode that we would copy and paste into our WordPress page or post, wherever we like to see it. Okay. If you wanted a comprehensive list of the different shortcode attributes available, you would click this, and we go over what each of the shortcode attributes mean. For this particular class filter, there's a couple attributes that aren't included in the real-time configuration, and those are background color and text color. And what we mean by background color is the color of these boxes back here. So we have blue or black. It doesn't need to be those colors specifically. You would just add in the hex code that applies. So that's the one caveat here with the class filter, but it's really simple just to drop this in your shortcode. And when we go to drop that in, this is all we're really talking about. We're just going to click copy. Let's fire this up again. Here's our class filter here. Let's just edit this page. And we have this shortcode here. And we have a shortcode here. So if we wanted to drop that in, we could just say paste, and there's our shortcode filter. So before in the filter shortcode that we're using as an example, we can see that we've changed our background color to whatever this is. And that's just a quick example of going ahead and putting this background color in here. This would also apply to your buttons as well. And for this particular example, if we said buttons, I believe it's buttons. Buttons, yep. Let's update this. It's been updated. So now we have these buttons here. Okay. Just because we have these shortcode customizers doesn't mean that you can't apply additional styles to what the class filter, the various shortcodes and the different functionality, what they provide. It's completely up to you. If you happen to have a web developer or designer, somebody you work with that understands CSS, which is just styling for web elements, they can apply those styles here, and they should be effective as well. Okay, so that is how we implement the class filter shortcode, and next we will go over the standalone class calendar.